The question is when you have that moment that you recognize the truth, are you going to go with it? Are you going to follow it through to fruition? Hey everybody, it's a brand new week and I hope it's going to be a beautiful one for you. So I got hit with a dose of reality the other day. I was like, oy vey, Pesach kommt schon bald. Passover is right around the corner. And it's going to get really hectic around here. There's going to be a lot of cooking, a lot of baking, a lot of cleaning, a lot of shopping, just so much going on in preparation for this beautiful holiday. And I realized that the videos that I wanted to put out are probably not going to happen at a very rapid pace. The video about prophecy, for instance, I imagine it's probably going to be 3-4 weeks before that goes up. I still might do 1 or 2 videos before Pesach, but it will come in slowly. So bear with me. It's just really busy around here. But since I'm recording anyways, let me share with you a thought about Pesach. So we've spoken in the past about how God concealed himself within nature, layers and layers of nature, that if a person is looking for God, he can still find God within nature. But if a person doesn't want to find God, he can easily miss him. He can say, I have examined nature and I can't grasp God with my hands, so therefore there is no God, right? A person could go either way. Now, if you go into the story of the exodus of the children of Israel from the land of Egypt, you actually see the opposite of God concealing himself within nature. You see God revealing himself within nature. You see, when Moses first approached Pharaoh, he told him, he said, let these people go so that they can go celebrate for God. And what did Pharaoh reply? He said, Mi Hashem asher eshma b'koiloi. Who is God that I should listen to his voice? He didn't know who God was. He said, I don't recognize God. And then the plagues started happening. God manipulating nature in magnificent ways. Things that were beyond the capacity of the human mind to comprehend. And yet Pharaoh remained firm. He remained hard. He hardened his heart. He didn't want to believe in God up until the 7th plague. And the 7th plague shook him up. And at that moment, he said, I recognize now that God is righteous and I and my people are wicked. What was it about the plague of hail that shook Pharaoh up so much? You see, you have to think like the ancients in order to understand this. The ancient people believed that there was a God over every single aspect of nature. There wasn't one God who governed everything. And when Pharaoh saw this hail coming down, he realized, oh, I was wrong. Why? Because this hail wasn't like any other hail you've ever seen before. It wasn't just little balls of frozen water. It was balls of frozen water with fire burning inside of it. And when Pharaoh saw this, he says, oh, there really is one God who controls everything. This God, he can control fire and he can control water. He can make them work together when he so wills it. And Pharaoh had a moment of awakening, that moment of awakening where he realized he had got it all wrong. But the problem is he chose not to stay with that awareness and ultimately chose to fight against God. He chose to reject God and ultimately led to his destruction. You see, we all have these moments where we can stop and we can look around us and we can have a moment where we tap into the truth. The question is when you have that moment that you recognize the truth, are you going to go with it? Are you going to follow it through to fruition? Or are you going to continue rejecting the God of Israel? The 10 plagues were not just punishments. They were a wake-up process, an arousal process, both for the Egyptians and for the children of Israel, because the children of Israel had become greatly assimilated into Egyptian culture. And they needed something to shake them up, to wake them up, to say, hey, God is running the world and you've gone far away from him. Come back to him. We are clearly living in a time in which one of these wake-up processes is happening. Everybody can stop and look around and see the nations of the world rising up against the Jewish people, trying to destroy us. And we know that the Jewish people can never be destroyed. Every single nation that has tried it has failed. They have gone on to destruction. And the Jewish people have continued thriving, continued serving our God. The only question is what kind of effect is it going to have on the individual? When the individual sees everything happening, and things are probably going to get a lot more interesting over the coming days. What kind of impact is it going to have on you? Are you going to wake up and say, hey, maybe I got it wrong. Maybe what was taught to me was not true. Maybe what the church taught me has been a lie. And maybe I should return back to the God of Israel. It doesn't matter if you're a Jew or if you're a non-Jew. The God of Israel is the God of everybody. And the same way that he gave both the Jewish people in the land of Egypt the ability to examine what was happening and to return to him, is the same way he gave the ability for the Mitzrayim, for the Egyptians, to examine what was going on and to return to him. And ultimately, it comes down to free choice. And we can all choose the God of Israel. We're all his creations, and he wants to be in a relationship with every single one of us. But it's time to wake up, to open up your eyes, to examine what's going on around you, to ask some hard questions, and ultimately to make a choice. And I pray it's going to be the right choice that is going to be a blessing for you and for the entire world.